Good morning. I'm always pleased to have the privilege of introducing our speakers on the Sundays when we celebrate our near-death groups. And sometimes our organization strays a bit from the near-death experience per se, and we go into other aspects similar but somewhat different, and that's what we're doing this weekend. Our speaker, Elena Viada, specializes in regressions that takes you into this, what she calls a spirit realm, which I agree with. I've been there through regressions and deep meditations. It's a wonderful, wonderful place. And so we're gonna look at the pluses or the comparisons and differences that deep regressions have from near-death experiences. There are similarities, but differences. And then Elena will talk about her work with people in the spirit realm. Elena comes to us from a business in Switzerland and in New York. She has an MBA, an experienced woman in business, and now she lives in Virginia Beach, where she has her practice, and she's the vice president of our near-death group. Most people don't know that Lloyd in the back is the president of our near-death group, and Elena is the vice president, and then we have a few board members like me that sort of get in the way, but it's fun. So with no other ados, Elena Viada.
Thank you, that was nice. Hello, everybody. And first of all, I want to thank you all for letting me speak today. It's quite an honor for me. This is a very special place. And I just want to say I'm grateful, and I'm glad that you're all here. And I hope that, that something I say today brightens your day a little bit, or helps you in dealing with family and friends during the holidays. So thank you. Before I get started, how many people were at my talk yesterday? Just so, okay, quite a few. All right, I'll try to say some different things as well. Okay, I'd like to start off by saying that there are a lot of similarities between near-death experiences, and I'm going to just for short say SRE, that's Spirit Realm Exploration. And some of you are maybe more familiar with the concept of life between lives. Very, very similar. It's just taking it like a little step further. All right. Now, first of all, one of the now all of you have heard lectures on the near-death experience. Anybody not familiar? Okay. Now, if ever I say something that you don't understand, please raise your hand. All right, because I sometimes will talk a little too fast because I get excited, or I might say an acronym you don't understand. Okay, so please feel free to interrupt. The main difference between the two is that with a near-death experience, you don't plan it. It just happens, and it's very abrupt, and you do die. And it's very traumatic and difficult. And for people, especially if it happened when they're younger, and a lot of people that are like our age now, and it happened to them when they were young, they didn't have anybody to talk to. And so, some people think that they've gone nuts, or they don't know what's going on, and it's very difficult. First of all, on the physical side, they have to heal from whatever it is that happened, whether it's an accident, a drowning, a coma, whatever it might be. So there's a lot of physical trauma going on. But then there's also the spiritual and mental, everything going along with what just happened. And there's this questioning as to, oh my God, have I gone crazy? Because, it's contrary to everything I believe. And also, for the most part, there's always exceptions, but for the most part, it happens when people are maybe, let's just say, need to get back on course. All right, so then they're given this what's the best way to say it? Shock treatment, if you will, as far as, hey, wake up, this is not who you are. Look at this is the whole universe. You're part of this wonderful, magnificent thing we call love and universe, and there's so much more to life, and there's no reason to fear, and it happens at a time that they need, and all of a sudden it's, whoa, it changes your perception totally. And so it's a very shocking, very abrupt, but very needed. And sometimes it takes people years. I mean, I have friends that it's taken them 10, 20, 30 years to really totally grasp the magnitude of what they experienced. Okay, so that's on the near-death side, that's the main thing, it's that there's a death that happens. People do come back, obviously, to talk about it, but they did die. For the SRE, Spirit Realm Exploration, and focus on the exploration word of it, it's done with intent. You know very well that you're doing it. You plan it. There is no trauma. There is no pain. But you do go to the same place. Right? Now, I refer to heaven, spirit realm, the other side. They all mean the same thing. For me, those terms are interchangeable. So I'm talking about the same thing. So on both sides, both the spirit realm, both the SRE and the NDEs go to heaven. Okay, visit heaven and have a life-altering experience. All right. So those are, those are some of the similarities, some of the differences. Let's say, another difference: the spirit realm, the SRE, tends to be a little bit longer in length because you have planned it and you have more time, physical time here. For the NDEs, it tends to be a little bit shorter but very strong. And it's not like one is better than the other. It's not like that, because it's just another avenue of understanding our immortality and understanding how the universe works. So there's no right or wrong, good or bad. I mean, for me, I have not had a near-death experience, but my father has, and I learned through him. But what I have, the way I've always been guided, is through my dreams. Since I was a child, we were encouraged by our mother to listen to our dreams. I mean, as early as I could, when I started talking, that's what we talk about at breakfast, is what did we dream and how did we set it up, and it was always very important, and we were taught that dreams were just as important as this life. In fact, it was more real, that was the reality, because when we sleep, we also visit heaven. That's also when we're out of our bodies. And that's what I was taught and grown up with. So throughout my life, I've been a lucid dreamer, and I don't like to use the word everything, but almost all my decisions, almost every major decision in my life has been based on information or guidance I got in a dream. And believe me, it hasn't been easy, because when I tried to explain, like when I was moving from Switzerland, I love Switzerland. I was a skier. I had no desire to leave. I loved that place. And I had a dream in which I was told to come to Virginia Beach. And I'm like, where the hell's Virginia Beach? I'm like, oops, sorry. I'd never even heard of it. I didn't know anybody. That dream was very long, but I was given a lot of very specific instruction. And it was so strong that I could not deny it. But man, was it hard. I mean, because people were like, oh, there must be a guy. I was like, no, there's no guy. Oh, you must be in trouble. I mean, why would you leave Switzerland? No, I love it here. I don't want to go. Oh, you must have a job there. No, I don't have a job. Oh, okay, so you met someone online and they're in Virginia. No, they're not. Oh, you used to live there. No, I don't even know where it is. So totally thought I was crazy. I mean, my friends, my colleagues, my family, so wait, let me get this straight. You're stopping your business. I had two very good businesses. I was a graphic designer, and I had Procter & Gamble was my biggest client. I was doing great. I had a massage therapy business, doing great. My son's happy in school. We go skiing every day at lunchtime. It's fabulous. I'm happy. No, everything's going great. You're leaving this to go to a place you don't know anybody, you don't have a job, you don't have anything because you had a effing dream? I was like, yeah, pretty much. Oh man. And everybody tried to, my friends tried to get, in Switzerland, tried to get me to stay there. My friends and my brother in New York tried to get me to stay there. My parents in Florida tried to get me to go there. Anyway, point being, dreams are important. And so I'm so glad that Jill's doing that seminar on it, because it's critical. Anyhow, from the point about the dreams is that whether it's dreams, whether it's a near-death experience, whether it's spirit realm exploration, it's all the same. We all go to, or whether you're meditating, or whether you're talking with someone that's a channel and communicating. The idea is that the veil, and I'm sure, most of you have heard the term, the veil is being lifted, so that at this time, it's very important, because we are understanding that we are all connected and that we are immortal. And it's kind of an experiment. Let's see what happens now. How are we going to act as humans if we know that we're going to live forever? So it's kind of an experiment, and that's why we I want to be here, And also, there may be a couple things. I think for most of you, you've heard this kind of stuff, but just in case, please understand that everything that I say, I might speak with enthusiasm and assertiveness, but that's just based on my own experience, and so it's true for me. So if something I say sounds really wacky, just ignore it and just focus on whatever the message might be. It's in there somewhere. You might have to look for it. But I want to discuss something called it's pre-birth planning. Okay. Now, assuming there's reincarnation and we have many lives, which I believe, before each life there's a planning of the next life. And you meet with a council of elders, entities, if you will, and people ask me, who is it, what is it? There are entities that are with you throughout eternity that look after your best interest, and they help you. They're like your guidance counselors, or spirit guides, whatever you call. And the equivalent that I can think of is like when you're in college and you're trying to make sure you take all the courses so that you get the right major. Well, they make sure, they talk to you and discuss, okay, well, what do you still need to work on? That life was pretty good. It's not a judgment, it's an assessment of how your life was. Like maybe you had a pretty good life, and let's say you were in a, high-income family and your parents loved you and everything was great. And you're like, okay, yeah, I did pretty good spiritually, but, things were easy for me. I wonder how I'll do how spiritual I'll be if I'm growing up in a third world country and I lose my parents and I don't have a home. I want to try that as a challenge. See, Earth, for us, that seems crazy. Why would you choose that? But on a spiritual level, it's a challenge. It's more of, let me see if I could do it. And that's why all these hardships, we choose. So part of this pre-birth planning, it's not only that you choose your family, you choose your friends, you choose your relationships, and they choose you. You literally sit in a type of conference table or float on a conference table, and you discuss these things. Now, the first time I heard it, I was like, oh, no way, I would not pick this, and that, and so I understand if there's a hesitation there. But regardless, even if just entertain the thought that it might be possible, because in so doing, then, before I continue, I have a question. How many people here have ever, in your life, have you ever felt that you were criticized by your parents? Okay, and how many of you have kids that have accused you of criticizing them? Yeah, okay. Same here on both sides. And it was funny, it just happened. I just remembered this, I thought I'd tell you. I remember growing up thinking, my mom, oh, she's so critical. She's always no matter what, everything could be nice. And she did you pop that pimple? Or why is this hair and used to aggravate me. And I remember one time, or a couple times, I said, Ma, it feels like you're sitting there just waiting for me to do something wrong or looking for a flaw. And then, I always swore I would never be that way, that I would always be supportive and positive and blah, 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 blah. My son's 26 now, and I think I mentioned he's going through a rough time, and just temporarily for a couple months he's living with me and the two kids. So we were butting heads about something, and he verbatim said the same thing. I said, Mom, it seems like you're sitting there with a machine gun just waiting for me to do something wrong, and you're just shooting at me. I was like, oh no. We do it. We don't realize it. And I know that I'm coming from a good place. I'm trying to help him. And then that's what my mom was doing, you know. But anyhow, just keep that in mind, all right? Because sometimes when we're trying to give helpful suggestions, that doesn't really go so well, okay? Because just the fact that you're giving a suggestion is saying that what I'm saying is right and what you're doing is wrong, you know? So just keep that in mind, especially in dealing with kids and stuff. Anyhow, moving back, I do go sidetracked, as you could tell. Getting back to the differences between the two, you go, so I was talking about the pre-planning, and the reason I'm saying this is because a lot of times, you know, you might wonder, wait a minute, why did I have this hardship? Why did I choose parents that are unkind? Or why do I seem to be attracting the same kind of friends that hurt me or betray me? You know, why are all the men in my life, you know, lie to me? Why does this? Why does that? So these are the kinds of things that you have questions, all right? And in the spirit realm exploration, in that journey, there's a preparation involved. And what you do is you write down all your questions. Why am I here? What is my purpose? You know, have I shared a life with my husband before? Why are we having such difficulty with my kids? Why is my father still, you know, in a nursing home when he wants to die? Why is he still alive? What do I still need to teach him, or what do I need to learn? All these questions. There's many, many, many questions. Any questions you have. Should I go on that cruise next year? It can be as insignificant, but it's important to you. So you go, you prepare for this journey, and you have a whole bunch of questions that you have, okay? And then that's part of it. Then the other part is that you make a cast of, what's called a cast of characters. A cast of characters are all the people in your movie, in your life, okay? Your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, grandparents, kids, significant others. And you make a list of them with their names, and then next to it you put 4 adjectives. And granted, you could maybe have a choice 20 words that you want to say about some people, you know, but just keep it to 4. And positive and negative, like, you know, my mother was very loving, but she was also held grudges. She was afraid of things, but she was kind. Okay, just that, and then you go down. I'm not going to go into a psychoanalysis of your family or anything like that. There's a reason we do this, and I will get to it. So you just write down a list of those that are alive and those that have, as my father said, graduated and are on the other side. Okay, and it's just a quick list. So we have those 2 things. We have your list of questions and your cast of characters. Because this is the movie of your life, and you are the main actor or actress in your life. Which brings me, I'm just going to the next subject, is that ever get into that kind of argument with somebody, and then either they say, you say, you know, you're just thinking about yourself. You don't think of anybody else. You think the whole world revolves around you. Anybody have a similar talk? Yeah, okay, that's it. Because the truth is, we are the center of our universe, okay? We're all separate universes. We're not, you know, it's like a person next to you, yeah, is somebody else that came to church today. But to them, you're just another person that came to church today. Today I happen to be here talking, but next week there'll be somebody else here. There's people that play a very important role in our life, and that's because we've given them that importance. They become your husband, your wife, your best friend, your favorite teacher. These are all people that are important to you because they're important, so they're main actors. But sometimes those things aren't in line, okay? So someone that is super important to you, critical, and that you value their opinion, they're up here, but you're maybe just an extra in their movie. And so sometimes there's a little bit of a conflict in expectations. Do you follow what I'm saying? Okay. And so keep that in mind, that we're not always in the same place. And, sometimes I wonder how we could get along at all, because we all have our own ways of thinking, of feeling. Words have different meanings. And and we're all acting and we're all here together, you know. And there's something that is common, getting back to the differences and similarities. One of the, I would say, I have been, I'm trying to think, it's been almost maybe 19 years I've been going to the IANS meetings and listening to speakers, and so that's a lot of speakers. And I've also been doing the Spirit Realm Exploration for now 7 years, so I've had a lot of clients. Now there is one thing that is in every experience, and every of those experiences, and that is the importance of love. Okay? Now, and it's only when we love that we can evolve. Look at the similarity in those words. You know? I like playing Scrabble, so I can't help it. My mind does that all the time. I'm always playing with words. And then, you know, and the idea is that we have to live in a loving way, right? So, living and loving is together. Now, if we take the word love out, take the V, take the word love, and you're living without love, okay? You're living a lie. Okay? And if you're living your life without love, okay, everything is just backwards. Okay? And so you're living, right? Without love, it's all backwards. So guess what comes to your life? Spelled backwards. Okay? Okay, so just keep that in mind. But that is something that's always underneath. There's many interesting, cool things that people see and experience and do, but bottom line, that always seems to be the underlying message, the importance of love. All right? And it's with love that we evolve. And Cheryl's song is perfect. It's about kindness, because that's you can say I love you all you want, I love you, but it's being kind that you show the love, you know. So remember that. And now getting back to the differences and similarities. So the main idea is that you have with the SREs you have a choice. And you decide, yes, I'm going to do this. You have the intention. Now, when I had my regression done, I was warned that really only 10 minutes. God, I have the sign here. I love talking about this, and I can talk for days. I didn't even cover the first, 1/100th of what I wanted to tell you. Anyway, all right. You choose to do this regression, so you're going with the intent that you want to improve your life, and the reason you do this is to get your questions answered, find out better ways of relating to people, because if you think about it, when you're feeling anger, really deep anger, if you go under that feeling, what's the source of it is that you don't understand. How could you do that to me? How could you say that? Are you nuts? You get so angry, but at the bottom of it is because you don't understand how that person could do something so different from your expectations or from what you think, right? So if you try to understand, calm down, and the anger is a clue of something that needs to be looked at, right? Now, my regression was for 4 hours, so let me see how I can. All right. What happens when you have a regression is, let's see, this is backwards. Okay, so if you think of a timeline, the first thing that we do, there's a relaxation, kind of guided meditation of what you're used to, and I take you down into sort of a deeper level, and we visit a couple places in your life, in this current life, and I don't decide, you don't decide, your soul decides where to go. And then you have a recollection. It's called Significant Life Event, SLE. You go to two different places in this life, and it could be maybe you're in your 20s and maybe you're 5 or 6, and you have it's an instant recollection, and it's like you're there. And those particular times are chosen through your soul to help you answer some of those questions that you set forth, okay? And for example, it might be, I don't know, why am I afraid of the water, or why do I have this speech impediment, or why, whatever your question is, you'll be shown, and you'll have perfect recollection as if it just happened yesterday. And so, and then what happens is you're taken to the most significant past life that's impacting your life now. All right, something that explains to you, why do I have this obsession with, I don't know, Egypt, or with the time period, or with certain things. So it'll go back to that time, or maybe there's a relationship problem you're having, all right, with a loved one, and that's your main thing that you're wanting to understand. So you'll be taken to that life, and it could be your most recent life, or it could be hundreds of thousands of years ago, all right. And you will go through being young, being middle-aged, and the moment you die. And so in both cases, in the near-death experience and the SRE, you die, but in this case, you're separate from it. You're not feeling the pain. You're an observer. And it's from, the reason we go there is because as a soul, you're used to dying before you go to heaven, right? And so it makes it easier to get you up there, right? And once you're there, you will meet, there is a journey up, and there's definitely a gateway, an entrance to this realm. You definitely feel, I'm over here, or I'm entering it, and there's a guide, and the guide takes different form for everybody. And that guide sometimes wants to show you some things, but it'll take you through, and you will meet your soul group, or people that you ahead of time decided you wanted to see. And then you go before the council of elders, usually 5 to 7 entities, and that's who you ask your questions to. Now I say I, but it could be Neil or anybody else that's doing it. There's other people that do this, not just me. You have your questions, and your therapist will say, okay, what is my purpose in life? All right, so you talk to the council telepathically, and you ask, what is my purpose in life? Okay, and they will respond to you, and it's an input of information, because if you just talk, it takes too long, but they just put it in your head, or they might show you something. They might take you backwards in time, forwards in time, or they might show you. It's sometimes visual, sometimes a feeling. But I'll tell you this, all your questions are answered, okay? All of them. And if by chance there's something that is not, it's only because they'll tell you why, and they'll tell you when you're going to get the answer, okay? You're shown, it's not a full review. It depends what your questions are. Like if you say, why did I choose this body, or why did I choose this life, you will be taken to your pre-planning area, and it'll be shown to you why you picked it, all right? Now, so you have your talk with them, and also people might show up that you weren't expecting, okay? I've had that happen before, that people say, I don't want to talk to a particular family member, and they show up, and they have a very deep message, and it explains a lot of things for them, all right? And everything, the main thing here is that you will have full recollection. On top of that, your session is being recorded, and I'm also typing. So at the end of it, I give you a written documentation of your session. The reason I do that is that way you can add to it, and I don't know, maybe write a book someday. I give that to you. And I'm the most helpful to you right afterwards, because we can talk about it. I'm very intricate, I'm very, very connected to you. But just so you know, the minute you walk out the door, it's like, whoosh, I don't remember anything, okay? And if this is the first time I'm meeting you, like you're not like my friend already or colleague, and we have a session together, I will not remember your face, your name, nothing. But I definitely don't remember the journey. It's I wish it wasn't that way sometimes, because some of those things are cool. And the only way I can recollect is not recollecting is because I've talked to the person afterwards and they tell me about it, you know, and they say, hey, I want you to share this. Speaking of which, before I totally run out of time here, in my journey, it was very, very, very cool. You also get to pick how you travel if you want to go through time in a whatever is better for you. Flying in a cloud, you know, going into a time machine, going on a magic carpet. For me, it was this eagle, because there's an eagle that always has come into my dreams since I was a kid. So I went on this eagle, this huge eagle, and it takes me up. And there's all these colors and lights and sounds, and it's just so beautiful. There's not words to describe it. And then when I arrived, my guide was this guy with this long beard and big piercing blue eyes, and he looked familiar, and he was somebody that I painted when I was 15 years old. It came in a dream. And he showed me, it's funny because I'm looking at that picture back there, and it reminds me of that because I saw Earth and I saw all the stars, and he was showing me how we have the power to do anything, especially when we're on that realm. The time, there's no time, but between your thought and your manifestation is immediate. Where here it takes a little bit longer. There he would go like this, and you could see all these colors. It was just beautiful, like a rainbow. And he said, see, this is you. And he showed me all the stars. And he showed me how I could expand. And they were like all, he says that the cells of your body is like the stars. And all of a sudden I looked down and my body turned into all the cells were these sparkly lights. And all of a sudden they were expanding. And then my stars joined those stars. And it was amazing. And then it went into this waterfall where everybody else's stars joined, and it was just magnificent. It was, no, in case you're wondering, I never did do acid or any psychedelics. But from what I've heard, it's something similar to it, but I know it was just so amazing. And there were so many other beautiful things that happened. Oh man, I got the end now thing. Okay, okay, so there was one more thing, there was a million more things I wanted to share with you, but I promised Brendan that I would tell you this. Brendan is the guy that's in the hospital. A few days before he came here to the fellowship, he was very insistent. He wanted to have a regression. And I'm thinking, God, 21 years old, how many questions would he have? He had 52 questions. Okay, all of them were answered. And the main, there's many things he wanted me to share with you today, but the main thing is similar to what he talked about, which is to keep in mind that we cannot control other people. And as much as we try to help them, we have to let them be on their own path. And we have to just enjoy and appreciate each other, even in our differences, and we have to all lighten up. Okay, so he said, lighten up, enjoy life, and he said, don't worry about me, I'm going to be just fine. And he's got an incredible, powerful energy. He's an old soul. But anyway, there's so much more, but, if you're interested in finding out more, I have a list of things that I can send you of the types of questions, just in case you ever want to do this. There's a little sign-up sheet on the table there and also outside. If you give me your email address, I can send it to you, because I obviously don't have time to go into it now. So, thank you very much, and just remember, it's your choice on whether you're going to react in a defensive way or if you're going to be in a loving way. So always think that whatever stress you feel from another person, just think it may not be anything against you. It just might be they're going through a rough day. So have some compassion and remember to be kind all the time. Thank you.